Hello, this is your video for a healthy back, and I've included some exercises specifically for the lower back. There'll be a little overall stretching, but yeah, the focus will definitely be on keeping your back limber and strong and healthy. So let's get started. I'm sure you know what cat-cow is, so we'll just start there. But before you start, always make sure that the knees are hips width apart, and make sure that the arms are shoulders width apart. Fingers are spread wide, and we're going to do a few cat-cows. So as you inhale, you're going to let the belly drop, and then reach the gaze up. And then as you exhale, using the abdominals, we're going to start to pull everything back in and round the back. And as soon as you start inhaling again, you're going to turn the pelvis back, belly drops, gaze looks up. And then exhaling and rounding the back. So we're going to do a few rounds of this. Feel free to go at your own pace. If I'm going too slow for you, that's fine. You can just go at your own pace until the next pose comes up. If I'm going too fast, then you go slow. No worries. But you definitely want to go slow enough so that you can really feel the articulation of the movement, and also pressing the arms into the mat while you are rounding the back also helps to make sure that, well, a couple things, that you're not hunching into the shoulders, but also that you're really letting those shoulder blades spread apart and you're getting a nice stretch in the muscles underneath the shoulder blades. We'll do one more round. And then come to a neutral spine. From here, the next pose we're going to do again, it's a spinal warm-up. So this is a variation on what we call hero's pose. So Vajrasana. We're going to raise the arms up as we inhale. And then as you exhale, you're going to use the abdominals. You're going to start to bring everything back into collapse. And then the arms are going to swing out by your sides, land on the lower back as you bring your head towards the mat into a child's pose. Complete the exhale, and then when you begin to inhale, once again we're going to open up kind of like a flower. Arms come around and up, and as you reach up, I mean really reach up, elongate the spine, feel the stretch as you're doing it. Fill the lungs with fresh air, and then slowly start to exhale and bring it all back in. Inhaling, we're coming up again, reaching for the sun, and exhaling, closing everything back down. Again, take this at your own pace. As long as you're synchronizing the breath with the movement, it doesn't matter if you're going faster than I am or slower than I am. We'll do one more round. Some of these simpler looking movements are deceptive. They look so easy or like they're not really doing anything, but they are. Namely, they allow the synovial joint fluid to flow better. I should just say the synovial fluid in the joints. Anyway, back to hands and knees. We're going to do tabletop position. And then from here, I'm going to have you take your right foot behind you onto the ball of the foot and just stretch the toes a little bit. And then press the heel back. So when you press the heel back, you should feel the stretch in the calf muscle. So we're going to stretch all the leg muscles as well, because when you have lower back pain, it's not just the lower back, it's hip muscles, it's hamstrings, Even calf muscles can make a difference. Then take that right foot and swing it behind the left. Look over the left shoulder, and you will feel the stretch all along the right side body. So you're making a U shape with your spine. Full deep breaths. And then come back to starting. And then from here, take the left leg back. Starting on the ball of the foot, you can actually get a little toe stretch first, and then press that heel back. Take the left foot, swing it behind the right, and look over the right shoulder, creating that U shape, feeling the stretch all along the left side body. And then bring that back to starting, back to tabletop. And then from here, we're going to take a nice twist. So you're going to take the right arm and lift it up towards the sky, and then thread it under the left as you exhale. And then come to rest on the head and shoulders. Left hand can stay on the mat, or you can walk the fingers forward. You can also raise it up towards the ceiling, rest it on your lower back, or wrap around. All are fine. It's up to you to choose how much you want to stretch, because obviously wrapping around your waist will definitely intensify the stretch quite a bit. But if you leave your hand on the mat, this is enough of a stretch for most people. So choose your modification, and it might be different every time you practice. And this is a nice, safe stretch. You're fully supported by the floor. And it's more for the upper back. Go ahead and bring the left hand back to the mat. Press the left arm into the mat to come up and out. And then from here, we're going to do the other side. Lift up with the left hand as you inhale, and as you exhale, twist to the other side. Right hand can be pressing into the mat, raising up towards the ceiling, or wrapped around the waist. And just be here and breathe. And then when you're ready, go ahead and bring the right hand back to the mat. Press into the mat in order to come up and out. From here, we're going to come into puppy pose. So you're going to walk the hands forward, and the hips are still above the knees here. So we're not going to sit back into child's pose, but we're going to press the chest towards the earth, keeping the arms straight. Fingers are wide. You can rest your forehead on the mat. Try to keep the elbows off the mat. If you can't, at least just keep them straight. And let your heart sink towards the floor. If it doesn't bother your neck, you can rest your head on your chin, but feel it out first. Go slow and see where you're at. And then from here, we're going to start to come up and forward. Bring your elbows to the mat. Take your legs out behind you. We're going to come into what we call Sphinx pose. So Sphinx pose. The elbows are right beneath the shoulders. Forearms are flat on the mat. Fingers are spread wide. You're pressing the forearms into the mat. You're pressing your toes into the mat as well. And in this pose, it's an upper back bend, and you want to feel like you're pulling on the mat and you're trying to pull your upper body through the space between your arms. Don't let your head scrunch down. Make sure you're pressing those arms into the mat so that the spine is elongated. The chin can remain either parallel to the floor, or you can tuck it slightly in order to elongate the neck just a little bit. And breathe. Full, slow, deep breaths. And on your next exhale, go ahead and bring the rest of the upper body to the mat. Take your hands and put them underneath the heads of the shoulders. From here, we're going to do a pose called Bhujangasana. So as you inhale, you're going to lift the chest and the head and the neck up off the mat. Hands are not pressing right now. Hands are loose. And if this feels okay for you and it feels strong, go ahead and take the hands up off the mat as well. If it's really, really hard, you can leave them on lightly, but really try to pluck them off the mat and squeeze the shoulders toward each other if you can. And then go ahead and lower and take a pause. And on your next inhale, we're going to lift up again. So the whole upper body. We're not sticking the chin out. We're keeping the chin neutral or slightly tucked here. Pulling the elbows toward each other. Pressing the toes into the mat so the legs are definitely engaged. They're also protecting the lower back. And then go ahead and release. Okay, so from here we're going to take the hands behind the back and then go ahead and bring the palms together if you can. If you can't, that's okay. But straighten the arms and lift up off the mat and breathe. Try to lift the arms up a little higher. And if it doesn't bother your back, bring the legs up off the mat as well. But if it does bother the lower back, just bring the feet back down and press the toenails into the mat. Either way, if you're up, just breathe. Full deep Ujjayi breaths here, or just regular breaths. And then go ahead and release. You can turn your head to one side and take a little break. And then slowly start to make your way back up. From here, have the knees slightly apart and the toes together. Not a lot, so you're not totally falling into that. You want it slightly apart. You don't want your belly to fall between the thighs. From here, we're actually going to come into a child's pose with the arms outstretched. So just breathe here. And then lift the forehead, walk your hands over to the left, and lower the forehead and breathe. And then go ahead and lift your head off the mat, walk your hands back towards center, and then over to the right. Lower the forehead again and breathe. Lift the head off the mat, come back to center, and then from here, go ahead and bring your legs through and come into a seated position. I'm actually going to turn around so you can see me better. So from here, you can sit with either the legs crossed like this, or you can bring one heel in front of the other and line them up that way. Then you can move the flesh away from your sit bones so that your sit bones are securely pressing into the mat. From here, I want you to just take your hands out in front of you and just tent the fingers. This is potted palm, and from here I just want you to bring your awareness to your spine. And make sure that you're holding the spine straight. We don't want to press the chin out either. Bring the chin in so it's tucked slightly, and you can feel the neck elongate a little bit. And then slowly start to walk your hands forward. You don't have to come too far, but the focus here is to feel your spine elongated and stretching. Just trying to make a little space between the vertebrae. If it's comfortable and you can come a little bit further, go ahead and do so, but you don't have to. Again, keeping the spine long. Breathing deeply. And then slowly walk the hands back again. From here, we're going to take a gentle twist. So as you inhale, bring your right hand over to the left knee and twist over to the left. Obviously, you're doing the opposite of what I'm doing, because I'm looking over my right shoulder, so you're looking over your left. So one way to make sure your spine is straight in this pose is to lift the chest as you inhale and then twist as you exhale. And you don't have to crank your neck all the way over. Be gentle with yourself. 3 to 5 breaths here. And on your next exhale, we're going to turn back towards the front. And then inhale. And then cross the left over the right. And twist over to the right. Lift the chest as you inhale and twist as you exhale. And while you're holding a pose like this, really feel what's happening in your body while you're doing this. I'm trying to give you a little bit of time in each pose to really feel it without rushing to the next pose. So notice which muscles are getting stretched, or if it feels really good and you want to hold it a little longer, that's fine. And then exhale back towards the front. So bring your feet to the floor in front of you. We're going to do Navasana. So I think I mentioned this earlier, but strengthening the lower abdominal muscles is really important because they support the back. So it's not just stretching out the lower back, but actually strengthening all of the muscles around the back. So Navasana is boat pose. A lot of people don't like it, but I'm going to show you some easy ways to do it. So you can take the legs up by having your hands behind your thighs. And from here, you can just breathe. If this feels really easy to you and you want to release the hands, you can go ahead and do that. Just keep breathing. And if this feels easy, you can take the legs straight. But if you do that, don't collapse. Make sure that the chest and everything is still up. And if you tremble a little bit, that's actually good. That means your muscles are firing. So breathe and smile and then release. I'm going to move over so I can do another one. Yeah, we're going to do another one. So go ahead and take the legs up. Just be where you're at. If you feel like this is it for you today, that's always okay. It's your body. If you want to straighten the legs and go for the full thing, go for it. Feel that little fluttering. Breathe fully and deeply. And then release. Take a full inhale. Release that. And we'll just come up one more time because it's good. So again, wherever you're at, you don't have to straighten the legs at all. You can keep the knees bent. And then release. Feels good, I bet, right? Okay. From here, we're going to come onto back. Onto your back. Okay? So the knees are bent, feet are flat on the mat. The first thing that we're going to do is I want you to bring your awareness to the lower abdomen. So you're going to press your feet into the mat and actually pretend like you're going to lift the pelvis up off the mat, but don't actually lift it up off the mat. But what's going to happen is, as soon as you engage those muscles, you're going to feel it. You're going to know exactly which muscles are engaging, and then go ahead and release it. And then inhale, and once again, engage the lower abdominal muscles. You're not coming up off the mat, but it's that sensation that you might. Breathe deeply, and then release. And then we'll do that one more time. So pretend you're going to lift the pelvis up off the mat. Engage the lower abdominal muscles. 3 full breaths. And then release. From here, we're going to go into bridge pose. So bridge pose is starting the same way. This time, I want you to take your hands and just kind of grab the edges of the mat. And then this time, bring your feet in towards your hips. Press the feet into the mat and lift the pelvis right up off of the mat. And lift it up as high as you can. This is a little bit of a back bend, but I want you to remember that the strength is coming from your legs. Keep breathing. And to release this pose, you want to release from up here. So you're going to let the spine start to come down. It's unraveling onto the mat, one vertebrae at a time. Kind of like you're laying down a string of pearls. And then we're going to grab the mat and come up again. Now while you're grabbing the mat, you can actually scooch the shoulders underneath. If you're up for it, grab the hands and come onto the shoulders. Don't turn your neck in bridge pose, whatever you do. It just could cause an injury, and we don't want to do that. So make sure that you are seeing what I'm doing and then just do it. But don't keep turning your head to peek. And breathe. Press into the legs. And then to release, go ahead and let go of the hands. Come off the shoulders. And once again, uncurl the spine like we talked about. Gently, taking your time, one vertebrae at a time. And take a deep breath and release. And then hug the knees into the chest. Give yourself a little rock. It's almost like a little spine massage. Hang on to the right leg and outstretch the left. Hug that right knee in towards the chest. 3 full breaths. And then release and switch sides. Extend the right leg, pull the left leg in towards the chest and breathe. And then bring both knees into the chest and exhale. Put your hands on your knees, and as you inhale, just press the knees away from you until your thigh bone, your femur, becomes perpendicular with the floor, and then bring them back in as you exhale. Inhale, bring the legs back out. Now you're not gripping the knees and you're not really using the arms, they're just kind of resting here gently. And then exhale as you bring the knees in. This is a really gentle stretch. Keep going with me. And then it might even feel too easy. But what you're doing is you are gently stretching the lower back muscles. But you're also strengthening the lower abdominal muscles. So it's kind of a neat pose. This is called Upanasana. And you can do as many rounds of this as you want. So just do a couple more rounds of this. Sorry, I had to do a little editing because the camera stopped again. And then go ahead and take the left leg out. Bring your right foot to the top of the left thigh. Left hand is on the knee and gently twist over to the left. You want to keep your shoulders on the mat. Gaze can be up towards the ceiling or over the right shoulder if it doesn't bother your neck. And if it does bother your neck, that's fine. Just go ahead and gaze up at the ceiling. Breathe. And then slowly release the twist and switch sides. Right leg out, left foot on the upper thigh, right hand on the knee, and gently bring your left knee over to the right. Again, keep the shoulders on the mat. Gaze can be over the left shoulder. But if it bothers your neck, gaze up towards the ceiling. And then release and come back to center. Hug the knees into the chest and give yourself a little rock. And then bring the left foot to the mat, cross the right over the left. Keep the feet engaged and then pull that leg in. Clasp the hands behind the left leg. So we keep the feet engaged to protect the joints. Just pull that leg in as best you can, and you should feel a nice, deep outer hip stretch. This is great for the lower back. This is another thing you could technically do before bed every night, if you did nothing else. Breathe deeply and slowly. And then go ahead and release and switch sides. Left ankle on the upper right thigh. Engage both feet by flexing them and pull the right leg in towards the chest, and only go as far as you can comfortably go. Some people can pull it all the way in, some people can barely get this far. It doesn't matter, just wherever you're at. And breathe. And then go ahead and release. Hug the knees into the chest one more time. Give yourself another little rock. Side to side, and then cross one ankle over the other. Open the knees a little wider. Rest the hands on the knees. And just make some big circles. This will feel like a little lower back massage. And go slow, take your time. And switch sides. And then from here, go ahead and prepare for shavasana. As you know, shavasana, the feet are wide apart. Let the feet fall naturally away from each other. Make sure the shoulder blades are down the back. Arms are outstretched, palms facing up. Close your eyes. And you have a choice. If you'd like to take shavasana, I'll continue talking you through it. Basically, just let go of everything. Let go of Ujjayi breath if you have it. Let the feet feel heavy. Let your legs feel heavy. Let go of the Ujjayi breath if you were breathing that way, and just come to be with the natural rise and fall of your own breath. Relax the hips. Let them sink into the mat. You're fully supported. Relax the abdominals. Let your chest feel heavy. Let your arms feel heavy. Release the jaw and the tongue if it's stuck to the roof of your mouth. Release the muscles of the cheeks. Relax them. The muscles around the eyes and between the eyes. From here, you can either turn off the video and just stay in shavasana for a few minutes. Or you can slowly take your time and come back up. If you pause it, when you come back, I'll finish up the practice, so pause now. And if you're ready to come back, take your time making your way up. Actually, a good way is if you're on your side. Bend the knees, roll over to one side, and then gently and slowly push yourself up off the floor. It's kind of a nice way to let yourself wake up. Hands in front of the heart. And I thank you for joining me, and I hope that your back feels better after this practice. Namaste, Michael.